As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, can you please explain the reality of Shaykhs being able to connect with every atom and speak from this level of reality?
So more than what we talked about last night, it has to do with the duality of light. So that from a science understanding that people they found out that the reality of light is both particle and wave, and our life was to enroll in the schools that teach the wave reality, which is supposed to be the spiritual reality, and then to accompany the shaykhs who achieved a wave reality, meaning that they unlock the reality of their light that Allah opened for them, Prophet opened for them, the shaykhs opened for them and said that we can reach you and we'll support you, and that you're of a reality for guidance. And Naqshbandi guidance has to do with the ability to guide with the 6 powers of the heart. So that reality has to have opened for a wave reality, and the shaykh has to be operating at a wave reality. But that's not true for everyone, because we speak a reality and nobody should assume that, oh, so everyone who claims themselves to be a shaykh is of that. Say, no, we're the one explaining the reality. So it should give you a hint of who's from that reality. So other people are not explaining anything, so we can't speak to what they've achieved or not achieved. But if you know it, you teach it. If you don't know it, you don't teach it. So that's something different that people have to kind of put in understanding, because other tariqas are listening, other students from other places are listening and think, oh okay, so this is like, okay, this is the system, this is how everybody makes a hamburger. So no, it's not that simple. So the shaykhs that are explaining haqqaiq, they are not from a book and they live it, they experience it, they've been dressed by it, and as a result they go back out and have permission. This is why they have an ijazah, they have permission to speak about it, because it's a reality for them. And in this month the special emphasis on the power of 10, that Ramadan takes you to a nukh, to be nothing. And Allah washes all away all the egoisms with the power of siyam and the power of fasting. So it's the perfect opportunity. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. Inshallah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments, and please share the stream, every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When the reality in the 10th month opens, has to do with the Divine Kingdom, that Thy kingdom come and Thy will be done. It can't be my will but has to be God's will. So it's all the same in all of the Abrahamic faiths. It should have been the same unless the learned men changed the word to appeal to themselves. So for God's kingdom to be done we have to be nothing, and that the word of God's kingdom has to resonate within the heart and soul of the individual and not their words. So this is then the understandings. And even any type of reference to malakut, when the people of particle and form, whom they strongly are in their form, really didn't study, maybe they even read about malakut and they tried to speak about it, but you can tell that they're still from the form. And I watched today where one individual was talking about philosophy, and that philosophy exists within Islam, and which one gives Sufi definitions. And the haqqaiq that we teach There is no philosophy. Philosophy is something through your mind, and it's a hypothesis through your mind, and you make up stories through your mind and you keep changing the story. So it's like in school when the philosopher would say, well, we have the philosophy that we came a million years ago onto this earth. Then they come with all of their hypothesis and their sciences and pseudoscience and say, look, we can date this carbon back, and they make outlandish numbers. But philosophy is a series of thoughts and guessing and do you agree with me? And they say, yeah, I agree, so therefore okay, this should be a truth for us. But this is not the understanding that the shaykhs of the wave reality was what? That they meditated, they were then put into seclusions. As a result of their seclusions, it's all just wave training, that they're trained on how to park their physicality, open the power of their soul, be present with whom they love, and whom they love will be present with them. And in that presence is the conveyance of knowledges, in which the knowledge is conveyed into their heart. And then Allah from ilmu yaqeen, these are the knowledges of realities, not hypothesis. Ayn yaqeen, that especially in the khalwa shows them. So they understood a knowledge, they're being taught of these haqqaiqs, they're being shown the haqqaiq, then it becomes haqq yaqeen for them. It has nothing to do at all with philosophies. Philosophy is through your mind, but these are not people who speak from their mind. The realities they teach is from their heart and from their soul. And what was taught to them of a reality, what was shown to them of a reality, and then it became the truth of reality. And that's why you see when they speak, their truths are in the Naat, their truths are in other books, their truths are in other shaykhs' teachings. Because the truth is one, but the perspective means then can be infinite in its height. One shaykh can get to one side of the ocean, this other shaykh can be completely on the other side of the ocean in its reality. And you see them and their teachings in everything. You read the Naat and you say, oh, this is in this reality of this Naat. You come across the other awliya, kalam al-awliya, and you say, oh, that's the teaching in that awliya. So those are realities, not philosophies. So you see in everyday aspect of our lives the importance of particle and wave. When somebody's trying to speak of something that truly is from malakut and the wave reality, and then it's coming out sounding very weird. Philosophy is something that confuses people, and it's meant to confuse people because it's somebody who doesn't have a truth, didn't reach a truth, and just coming up with something from their brain until disproven. Now that's nothing to do with the truth. So they told everybody 40 years ago you could smoke, and the doctors were smoking in the doctor's office. One shaykh, if you give him 400 years ago and say that, I want to inhale smoke into my mouth, they said completely forbidden. They didn't need scientific testing, they did nothing. In their tafakkur they know that this lungs of yours is a tree of life. Allah's qudra is coming onto your breath. It's completely contrary to your reality to reach your reality. They didn't need science to tell them anything because Allah teaches them through the haqqaiq. Now for today's knowledges and teachings, they try to match some semi-correct sciences with realities so that our scientific audience can say, oh, this is the deeper understanding, this is how to understand this. So philosophy may look at computers and say, no, it can be used for good and it can be used for bad. That has nothing to do with the reality. We're not talking about its use, we're talking about the reality is based on jinn, and that they retrieve something for you but they want something in exchange. So these are haqqaiqs, and these haqqaiqs and realities can only be achieved by the wave. And the shaykhs whom are trained in wave and the conveyance that comes to them by wave. So their shaykhs are waves and they've been trained on how to catch that wave energy and to move themselves through a wave. And as a result all knowledges and realities are flowing through that. Knowledges and realities and haqqaiqs don't flow into a particle state. The particle state is not at a place which it can receive that. Otherwise why is it a particle? Means that it's still under observation and didn't receive the maturity of observing itself, right? So its guardian angel still has to watch out for him, he's naughty. But when the guardian angel is sent away and Allah says, no, this individual will watch for themselves. Means then they're the watcher of their reality and as a result they can release to a wave at any time that's necessary. So this is a very deep reality and a deep reality towards guidance in the last days becomes more and more difficult to understand because less and less is being taught of that. But where do you see it on shaitans is the jinn world, they're all wave. So they're having an upper hand with people because everybody is becoming particle and completely not understanding the jinn and energy world. And as a result they say it doesn't exist. So we talk to the computer people, say, oh this is jinn, they say, whoa, what kind of silliness is this you're talking about? Oh, because they didn't understand waves and they didn't understand what you call binary code of on and off is actually a current and a release of a current. So it's all based on energies and the flow of energy and then what are made from energies. So we can see that there's such a diabolical difference that when the people of haqqaiq talk the world tries to mock it and say, oh we don't talk because you're talking about the world of particles, that none of them are waves. But the jinn realize these people are dangerous, they know too much. And the purpose of their activity on earth is to block you from ever becoming a wave. Because as you reach to waves you reach your reality and your potential. So they say they even have technologies, the jinn world, so that to stop people from their potential, right? So we described before shaitan's interest is to keep people not conscious of their reality, keep their frequency low. Their food, 6 directions he will attack their frequency. Their food destroys their frequency. Their fashion destroys their frequency. Their music, their sounds, their multimedia of ears and eyes destroys their frequency. So these are not coincidences, these are a planned attack from the jinn world. So external shaykhs again will say, oh I don't know what this guy is talking about. To them it sounds like some sort of a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy, it's a haqqaiq of energy. If you see the overwhelming tide around you is negative energies trying to attack you. I mean who made the microwave and every electronic component in your house resonate at the same frequency that your brain resonates? Was it like 3.55 megahertz? Why would they do that? Did they know any other frequency? So no, this is a system from shayateen and the ones whom rule this earth from the jinn races is to enslave mankind. So from every direction dumb them down, bring their energy down, bring their illumination and God-given potential down. And the tariqah is to reverse that, give the glad tidings that you have enormous potential and that's God's kingdom coming. God's kingdom is to bring that potential into the heart of His servants, and it can only be achieved by good deeds and good actions. Means that the means has to justify the end. How you get there is as important as getting there. That's why we said the struggle belongs to creation and victory only belongs to Allah. So can you steal money to build a masjid? No. Well, Allah said, what kind of masjid is that I want from you, you crook? And all the people you harm to do that? No. So you can't say my means of getting there doesn't matter because in the end I'm building a masjid. I cannot slaughter everybody and then say at the end I'm waiting for a Messiah. You can't steal, you can't cheat, you can't lie, you can't harm, you can't hurt and say in the end the Messiah is coming. Whatever your Messiah may be and to whomever you think is coming, whether it's Imam Mahdi, when it's somebody else, doesn't matter. Everything we said before, for you to be admitted into the company of Sayyidina Mahdi salam must be perfected character, beatific character, loving nature. Then the Prophet of Rahmah and mercy Sayyidina Muhammad gives the extent of that mercy. That kindness to birds, go out and feed the birds in winter time for they're hungry. Kindness to animals, pets, any type of creature that Allah created, to have a kindness to them. Imagine if you have kindness to creatures, how your kindness and respect would be for humanity. Then you say, those are the people waiting for God's kingdom. That through prayer, patience and fasting they achieve a nearness to God, not through lies, not through violence and not through killing. So we can see one side how shaitan prepares and the other side how Rahman asks us to prepare. Because if we want God's kingdom then the actions must match what we think our destiny to be. And we try to follow the shaykhs of a wave reality whom they speak of these energies and haqqaiqs and realities because this is what the soul is in need of in days of difficulty, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, you just touched upon this subject. We see many shaykhs in our area. Are they all awliya? And if these shaykhs give us a gift or specific advice, is it safe to say that this is in fact coming from you, our shaykh, as all awliya are taking from Prophet ﷺ?
No. If you are married and every woman comes up to try to hug you, is that a gift from your wife? No, or family will come and cut your head. So why would people assume something like that? When you have a shaykh, your test is in loyalty. So then who then would be testing you? Your shaitan, to break your loyalty. That when my provision, my connection, my love is sufficient, the knowledge the shaykh is feeding me is enough. That's why I walk with my head down. I walk and watch my feet, I have provision enough for myself, alhamdulillah. Somebody says, oh I'm here to give you rings, I didn't need it, thank you, give to this people over there. If my shaykh wants me to have it, he send it to me, he tell me. So there are charlatans as well in this academia. In this way of realities, of course there's charlatan. You go to a maqam, you don't think that there's 10 people there knowing, oh the people who come to maqams maybe 40% of them are hoping for something spiritual. Yeah, even Madinatul Munawwarah, you're sitting there and somebody comes sit right next to you making a story, you think that's from Prophet. My car just broke down, I came for umrah, I need $200, this has happened every 5 minutes. You're sitting down. So no, it doesn't happen like that. If I want to be generous, after the prayer I go out in Medina and I give to somebody whom I want. But to know that I'm going to be attacked by shayateen who try to feed on my sincerity, no. You have to be vigilant. And there's all these different type of examples. You go to the maqams of awliya, there are people there who specialize in that type of activity. They come up and they have 5 rings in their pocket, they bring out a ring and say, oh the maqam is giving you this ring. We don't know what he read on this ring, why is he giving you a ring? This is not necessary, this is not how this is a tariqah with adab. If the shaykh in that maqam knows that you're truly with the shaykh, why he wants to do that to break your connection with the shaykh? Because he's sending you, if you're truly of that nature and that reality, you would have connected your heart and with your shaykh that shaykh communicates to your heart and opens up the reality. He doesn't need to send you external toys and gifts to validate something. So that's very different. So when we travel and we went somewhere, we went to custodians of Rawza Sharif, the aqawat. And through that connection and the visualization of Prophet we're told that they're going to give a gift. That caretaker of the maqam, he gave a gift. But that's because of the relationship and proximity to Prophet being invited as a gift to Rawza Sharif, being invited as a guest to Rawza Sharif. But other than that, when you're going into a maqam or you're going into a location, then vigilant, keeping humble, keeping your connection with the shaykh. And the only gift you're interested in is that your heart open and to visualize Sahib al-Maqam, the owner of that maqam, and to receive their faiz and their du'as, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, what distinguishes the energy used by jinn from the heavenly light endowed to humans?
The practices of the connection. So we sit with the New Age people and they say, oh, and they do anything they want, they have no discipline, my spirit guide is telling me this and this and this and this. That which you achieved with no discipline, not from Allah. There's no hijacking the system, there's no Allah telling His Prophets and all of the companions, all awliya, all of those that have this discipline, have this extreme training, but for these people I opened and they remain dirty, do whatever they want. How you got there was important. If you think something opened for you, you only can know for yourself, was that through training? Was that through discipline? Was that through sacrifice? Or did it just come to you one night when you did too many forbidden things? All of a sudden now you have like visions and thoughts, and so you talk to these people and most likely most of them did really bad things. All of a sudden they had this new ability. So are you telling me this is from the Divine or you got possessed? And that's pretty much what possession is. Until possession wants to rip you to pieces, many times he begins to or they begin to facilitate an opening. They speak in languages, they do all sorts of things, give you vision, give you hearing, give you cognitive thoughts and the thoughts of other people. They're using their jinn ability upon a person. Went to a place, an event, and they said, oh there's a little boy, all of a sudden woke up one day, he speaks fluent Farsi, knows all these things, it's miraculous, it's miraculous. Went into the room, he couldn't sit in one place more than a minute trying to hide. It was all around the room, all around the room. Very simple, I said, this is not an ability, some jinn has gotten into this child and putting his memories of 1500 years on this earth into this child. And they thought the child had like some special gift from Allah. So why he's not sitting down and why he's not sitting in front of us so we can see him, but continuously hiding so that we can't see through him. So no, there are characteristic traits of people who submit to that energy, willing or unwilling, by the activities. But what we're talking about are very disciplined people who've been trained, then Allah opens for His servant what Allah wants to open for His servant. And they've been trained by the authorized guides. So things just don't open upon people. Even we had people who thought that they were pious and would sit in front of us and keep saying that, Imam Ali is telling me to leave. I said, look, I work for Imam Ali and in my presence he won't talk to you. So what you have inside you is a jinn. And didn't believe and started to do then reckless and horrific things, which basically then identified that, no, you have no connection with Imam Ali because they don't break the adab of the tariqah. So why he would teach us this adab to break it in front of us, they don't do that. So whoever is breaking this adab is not Imam Ali because they have discipline, they operate in discipline, more discipline than an army. So it's something that can't be imagined. That's why when the shaykh knows immediately who's hallucinating and what their hallucinations are, because they're breaking manners, they're breaking the adab. When you break the adab, those are hallucinations, inshaAllah. We've had people come and say, he's Jesus, and they swear to this person, oh my dad has all these spiritual abilities. So 35 years we're doing this, so it's okay, come on up. He comes up and he's talking and then I said, do you think you're Jesus? He says, by the way, yes, I'm actually Jesus. Okay, I've had enough, take him away, this guy is crazy, one of these people. Because he admitted right away, yes, he thinks he is Jesus. And that's why we say Antichrist, right? He will be the most copied Prophet of Allah. So every crazy person thinks they're Jesus, but not Isa ibn Maryam because we don't know what Jesus means. Hail Zeus, right? There's no Jesus in Aramaic. So Allah's reference is Isa ibn Maryam, that's completely different reality. But yeah, these are the signs of that, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, what does the state of being like a liquid signify about detachment or engagement with worldly matters?
We said the three states of matter. So you go to the website or go to our AI and ask that, what are the three states of matter? So in our science what happens? The matter that's in a solid state, every matter means everything, has three scientific states. So the ice can be solid, but when something's solid you can't put it into anything. You put it in this room, it complains, why I have to sit here? Put in the room, says, how come the dinner's not served yet? How come it's like this? How come like that? How come he's in front, I'm behind? The square solid conforms to nothing, complains about everything. That's when you know you're very solid. You hear a complaint in your ear about everything. You can complain even why there is an ant on the wall. Then the shaykh is like a fire. So when you go to science class you have a fire on your science lab. What happens with the fire? It burns solid matter. So the nazar, the zikr, the talks, some people are very offended by the talk but there was no name even mentioned. But it's their nafs is getting angry, oh he's identifying us, he's singling us out. We have to leave because the nafs also has you prisoner. So he's very scared that, are you going to find out that I'm running you? So the nafs is now a creature within the person, shaitan is a creature within the person, and their soul is a creature within that same person. And each of them fighting for who's in control. We say, who's sitting on the seat, who's sitting on your chair? So who sits on the chair of authority is going to be the big battle. So when the shaykh's presence is like a fire upon solid matter. If you can withstand the fire, stand the fire, withstand the fire, what happens to solid matter? It becomes liquid. Liquid, you throw it anywhere it will conform. You throw it into the corners it goes, you throw it over here it goes. So the liquid state of a person is now the student whom is in training. The solid state is a student whom still is not really accepted to be melted. The liquid state melts into anything. You put them on the floor they're happy, you put them on the chair they're happy, you don't give them food they're happy. They don't have a single complaint because water conforms to any environment it has. And as a result what happens then, if a little bit more energy comes in the zikr, they're flying, their soul is ignited because they don't care about anything. They don't care about what's happening, they're not going to change anything. And as a result the energy hits them and becomes gaseous. So solid was burned, which is the heaviest and difficult state. When you're liquid you care about nothing, alright whatever. When the energy hits a liquid, immediately they're ethereal, their gaseous state means that their soul is flying and they can begin to experience and have their spiritual vision, spiritual hearing, all of that. But solid state doesn't experience anything other than complaints, it has a complaint about everything. InshaAllah.
So there's an email came just about the same topic, so we'll just read that inshaAllah. As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi, when I started watching your video from last year I felt peaceful and calm and most of my questions were clarified in Q&A section. But now I feel intimidated and restless. Why is that?
Yeah, we said that when you want the fire to come, what happens? Everybody comes wet. Their log is wet. So as much as the fire is burning they're not feeling anything, they say, this is great, this is fantastic. But after a period of time it's going to dry, and as a result of being dry every talk is going to ignite. You feel yourself heated up and on fire because they're lighting you up, they're heating you up. How are you going to turn into a sun if you're frozen? But they say, what, if you can't stand the heat in the kitchen, get out? What does that mean? That most people when it gets hot they run. Now everybody has a different heat. They say, oh that guy Shaykh he ran away after 1 week. It didn't take much. Some may run after 5 months, 5 years. So we don't know what the time period or what ignites them to be heated. We're gonna hit the camera. Yeah. So everyone has a different timing and different reality in which they'll reach and what triggers them to get to that point. That's why never worry about left and right of you, just pray on what your own level of tolerance is. So who left the door this day, who came through the door this day, it doesn't matter, just say, today I'm here. Tomorrow I don't know what comes, Ya Rabbi keep me planted on this way.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, as wudu water purify the water inside our body, does it also helps to remove the negativity attached to iron within our body?
The water?
Sayyidi.
Yeah, water, drinking water is good for you, but the purification of the iron inside your body you have to get the meditation book and you have to do zikrullah. So drinking water is good for your body, it's clean, it's pure, you make du'a, has angelic power, but where's the whole process of cleaning of your blood? So blood is going to be affected in the heart because that's where the blood is going to be stamped on the iron with dhikr, or it's going to pass through the heart with negative energy and begin to attack and make the heart to be negative. So what you eat, what you breathe, what you drink is going to affect the blood. So drink pure, so your blood is being purified by water. You don't drink spirits, that's why al-ghul, the ghul, al-ghul, right? It's al-ghul which is a demon. When you put those spirits, what happens? The spirit and the demon goes into the blood. Well, that's very bad for your heart because every time that demon enters into the heart is attacking the heart and making the heart to be attacked. It's no longer going to be anything related to Allah's house. So these are all of spiritual reality. So somebody say, oh, but if I drink something and then I go to prayer sober, again these are the dunya particle people talking. Say, no, go back to the malakut. What's happening in the world of light? When you bring this contaminant and shaitan into the blood system, he's entering straight into the heart and attacking the heart. So how then your heart which is your Kaaba going to be the house of Allah? It won't be. And you brought a filth inside the heart, not even around the heart, into the heart. And then all your organs which are a defense mechanism for your entire being to defend you against satanic attack, which is your liver. Then where does al-ghul go next? It goes into your liver to attack your defense system. So if he knocks out your defense mechanism, he allows all the shaitans to come. So it's like one guy gets into the castle, kills some main people, opens the castle gate and says, come on in, and now all the shaitans have entered in. And that's the understanding, that's why they call it a gateway. They call it a gateway drug. What does that gateway mean? It means that one comes in, takes out the guards, opens the gate and now the shaitans come rolling in. So this is only from the understanding of malakut and the world of light, that these things, there's things are happening in the world of light with these shayateens and energy, positive, negative energies. These are not the talks of logic and reason. That's why it's different. The shaykhs of malakut and wave realities, when they teach you from the sharia, it's a much deeper understanding than somebody from a particle saying, no it's like this and the philosophy of this. Different reality, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
This comes in an email. We try our best to struggle in the path but we always fail and come up short. Why won't our heart and mind accept the understanding when it is continuously made clear to us over and over? Please forgive us.
You follow the system. Then are you doing everything that's been told? You're doing the zikr, you do the awrad, you do the charity, you go out and be of service. Everything that's been taught to us, if we do it, it works. There's not a single person that can say it doesn't work. You're just not working it. So you have to go, only every person only knows exactly what they're not doing. So the shaykh gives you the whole list of everything that has to be done. We have to connect, we have to understand and educate ourselves in the power of connection. I have to do my awrad, I have to do my zikrs, I have to give charity, I have to do charity. I have to have this love and do my durood and my salawat upon Prophet. I'm doing all of these things for the sake of love for Prophet, and I keep doing it and doing it and doing it and everything is opening. But if somebody just sit for 5 minutes, I'm trying to meditate, how come I'm not seeing anything? I don't think you think this is the easiest thing that you can do, or this is the most difficult way that Allah has given. This is the training of elite servants, these are not the training of beginning servants. So they're giving us these courses just because the days of difficulty are upon us. So everyone do what they gotta do, expect nothing and keep doing, keep doing, keep doing, and wait until you're pleasantly surprised by Allah and what He's opened for the heart, inshaAllah.
As-salamu alaykum Sayyidi.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
I think you answered that. How can one work towards eternalizing their given light?
Get the meditation book. Yeah, we have a lot of new people coming on, mashaAllah, for 50,000-60,000 now, new subscribers. So inshaAllah the guys who are moderating, they're providing links. Those links are not for entertainment. So please click on the links and click on the articles, click on the websites, email helpme@nurmuhammad.com. It's not my personal email where you think you're going to have a conversation with me. Everything goes through the organization and 5-6 of our people, staff people are replying and looking, coming up with questions. So everything is very, very formal. So email helpme@nurmuhammad.com and then we begin to send a series of articles and introductions and everything, how to get the articles, how to get the ta'weez, how to get to the website, here are the different websites, here's the charity site, here's our Facebook site, here's our social media site. All of these so that one can integrate themselves with all these knowledges. And now on YouTube they'll be developing more of intro playlists which will be called podcasts, where as a beginner you can go to that podcast and you get a good feed of intro talks that are geared more towards the beginners, podcast playlist that is geared for meditation. And then we start to specify if there's a particular podcast or playlist you'd like to see, then our guys will create it and compile the appropriate videos in that. There's a podcast for the jinn world, who people are fascinated with these things and how they're attacking, how they're moving. Maybe we should put one playlist Arsalan for technology, Shaykhs talks on technology and the jinn. Because a lot of our people are also in the computer technology and IT fields, and they find it fascinating how we're correlating this to the jinn world. And this is all from Grand Shaykh's teachings, and these are all from the heart of awliya. This is not something people making up. That they're a silica creation and the chips are their residence. And if you look at the chips, they look like a city planning department made this. Has entire street, buildings, everything. So this is an immense reality into their world and how they're integrating their world into the dunya here. And that's for the arrival of Dajjal and the Dajjalic system. And the believer's key and safety in the last days is to hold tight to the love of Sayyidina Muhammad and not to leave that reality and then accept nothing less than that reality. It's the greatest reality that Allah has given, inshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi sirri Surat al-Fatiha. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. InshaAllah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans, Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.